Seizing this opportunity, the rattlesnake strikes with renewed ferocity. In that fleeting moment, its fangs pierce Bobcat's flank, injecting a potent dose of venom. Deep in the heart of Saguaro National Park, Arizona, where the desert stretches under an endless sky, moves a creature both mysterious and majestic, Bobby the Bobcat. With his mottled fur blending naturally with the rugged landscape, Bobby emerges as a silent guardian of these arid lands. His presence hints at both the beauty and harshness of life in this timeless wilderness. Bobby's eyes, bright and ever watchful, mirror the harsh realities of desert survival. Every step he takes is deliberate, as if guided by an instinct refined over countless seasons. His acute hearing picks up the soft rustle of desert creatures and the whisper of the wind, allowing him to navigate the labyrinth of cacti and rocky outcrops with ease. Living a solitary life, Bobby embodies the spirit of the wild, a blend of raw power and quiet wisdom, whether stealthily stalking small prey or resting in the cool shadow of a saguaro. He balances vulnerability with strength. His life is not merely a series of survival tactics, but a profound narrative of resilience, passed down through generations of desert dwellers. As daylight wanes and the desert prepares for twilight, Bobby's journey becomes part of a larger narrative. His every movement is interwoven with the rhythms of the wilderness, a testament to the enduring dance of survival, beauty, and natural resilience. In Bobby's eyes, one sees not just a lone bobcat, but the legacy of an entire ecosystem forever adapting to the ever-changing desert landscape. Jake Harrison is a well-known guardian in Saguaro National Park, Arizona. Having lived in the desert for decades, he is always alert to signs of distress among its inhabitants. One morning, he spotted a young desert tortoise trapped in a narrow, rocky crevice. Without hesitation, he carefully freed the animal and led it to safety, demonstrating his daily commitment to protecting desert life. Known for his practical approach, Jake often uses his deep knowledge of the terrain to help lost or injured animals, whether guiding a stranded coyote back to its pack or intervening when danger arises. His quick thinking and steady hands make a real difference. His actions in emergency situations have earned him the trust and respect of local communities and wildlife enthusiasts alike. Every day, Jake's practical actions reinforce the idea that protecting nature requires direct intervention. His work, from rescuing injured animals to ensuring that no creature is left in harm's way, helps maintain the fragile balance of the desert ecosystem. For Jake, each saved life is a small victory. In his ongoing effort to preserve the wild beauty of Saguaro National Park, under the relentless blaze of the desert sun in Saguaro National Park, Bobby the Bobcat silently patrols his territory among weathered rocks and sparse shrubs. The cracked, sun-baked earth shimmers under the heat, and the air is heavy with a sense of foreboding. In this unforgiving landscape, every creature must remain alert, for danger often hides in the shifting shadows. Today, the desert seems especially tense, as if nature itself is preparing for a dramatic clash. Bobby, lean and agile, moves with a confidence born of years surviving the harsh elements, unaware that his routine patrol is about to become a fight for life. From the ancient sands of the Mojave, a venomous rattlesnake emerges, a creature perfectly adapted to the harsh desert environment. This is no stranger to these lands. The Mojave rattlesnake is a native predator, evolved over thousands of years to strike with deadly precision. Its distinctive rattle, a warning sound known by both animals and humans alike, echoes across the desert, signaling its presence. With powerful muscles coiled beneath its scaled body, the snake exudes an aura of lethal calm, revered and feared. It plays a critical role in maintaining the ecosystem's balance, keeping prey populations in check and reminding all who dwell here of the ruthless cycle of life and death. As Bobby moves near the cluster of saguaros, he senses something unusual, a subtle vibration in the ground, a whisper of movement among the bushes. Suddenly, from beneath a jagged rock, the rattlesnake strikes. Its body unfurls in a flash, and with a burst of speed, it lunges toward Bobby. Relying on his keen instincts and lightning reflexes, the bobcat dodges the initial attack. For several heart-stopping moments, the two predators circle each other. Bobby retaliates with swift, calculated swipes of his sharp claws, pushing the snake back toward a narrow crevice in the rocks. Dust swirls around them as each combatant expends every bit of strength and agility in this desperate dance for survival. Just when victory seems within Bobby's grasp, a critical lapse occurs. Overwhelmed by the intensity of the battle, his focus falters for just a split second. Seizing this opportunity, the rattlesnake strikes with renewed ferocity. In that fleeting moment, its fangs pierce Bobby's flank, injecting a potent dose of venom. The impact is immediate. A surge of pain and shock ripples through the bobcat's body, and the momentum of the battle shifts. The desert grows eerily silent. As Bobby's eyes widen in disbelief, he staggers, caught between the instinct to fight and the overwhelming agony that clouds his senses. The snake, having achieved its lethal aim, retreats briefly into the shadows, leaving Bobby vulnerable and reeling from the bite. In the aftermath of this brutal encounter, the desert stands as a solemn witness to the unyielding struggle for survival, though injured and weakened by the venom. Bobby remains a symbol of the wild spirit that defines these lands. This clash is a stark reminder that in the unforgiving desert, even a near victory can be undone in an instant. By a moment of inattention, life here is a delicate balance between triumph and tragedy, where every heartbeat is a battle against nature's relentless force. While patrolling the outer reaches of Saguaro National Park, Jake Harrison sensed something was amiss. The usual desert hum was replaced by an eerie silence. A series of faint tracks led him toward a rocky outcrop. As he drew near, he found Bobby, the agile bobcat from earlier, lying weakly near a cluster of scrub. The animal's labored breathing and trembling body painted a grim picture of a recent violent encounter. Jake's seasoned eyes immediately recognized the signs of distress. Drawing on decades of experience, Jake knelt beside the injured bobcat. He carefully inspected Bobby's flank, noting several deep, precise puncture wounds. The bite marks were distinct, small, evenly spaced, and accompanied by significant swelling and discoloration. These physical signs, along with the rapid onset of lethargy and labored breathing, confirmed Jake's suspicions. Venom was coursing through Bobby's veins. As Jake continued his examination, his trained eyes focused on the pattern of the bite. The spacing and shape of the puncture wounds were unmistakably characteristic of a rattlesnake's fangs. Memories of past encounters in the desert flashed through his mind. He recalled that the Mojave rattlesnake, a native predator, leaves behind a signature bite, marked by such precise deep punctures, even a few scattered scales clinging to the nearby sand, bolstered his conclusion. With the evidence before him, Jake confidently deduced that the venomous Mojave rattlesnake was responsible for inflicting these wounds on Bobby. Realizing the critical nature of the situation, Jake swiftly retrieved his compact first aid kit from his weathered backpack. As he began administering initial care to slow the venom's spread, his mind raced through possible countermeasures. Every detail mattered: the bite's precise location, the swelling, even the subtle odor of venom lingering in the air. His rapid deduction of the culprit fueled his determination to act decisively. Jake's calm yet urgent movements were a testament to his lifelong commitment to preserving the fragile balance of the desert ecosystem. As the injured bobcat lay vulnerable under the unforgiving sun, Jake silently vowed he would not allow this venomous threat to claim another life. With the culprit unmasked, he prepared for the next phase of intervention, ensuring that the dangerous presence would be neutralized to restore safety and balance to the desert. In that quiet, tense moment, the desert bore witness to the steadfast spirit of a man devoted to nature, whose experience and resolve provided hope amidst the harsh realities of survival. Under the scorching desert sun, after deducing the cause of Bobby's suffering, Jake Harrison's heart pounded with urgency, with the injured bobcat trembling on the cracked, sun-baked ground. Every second felt critical. Quickly, he reached for his weathered backpack and retrieved his compact first aid kit. The quiet of the arid landscape was punctuated by his measured footsteps and the whisper of the wind, each moment reminding him that time was of the essence. Jake knelt beside Bobby, his experienced hands moving with practiced precision. He carefully cleaned the venomous bite wound, examining the puncture marks that confirmed the presence of potent toxin. With steady focus, he applied a makeshift pressure bandage around the injured area, determined to slow the spread of venom. Every movement was deliberate, as the relentless heat and ticking clock heightened the stakes of this life-or-death rescue. Even as he worked, Jake offered soft words of encouragement to the injured bobcat. "Hang in there, little one," he murmured, his calm voice a steadying force amid the crisis. His watchful eyes carefully monitored Bobby's shallow breaths and rapid pulse, each sign reinforcing the critical nature of the situation. The fragile state of the bobcat only deepened Jake's resolve to act swiftly and effectively. Realizing that Bobby could not remain in the open desert for long, Jake prepared to move the injured bobcat to a safer, shaded spot. With utmost care, he lifted Bobby gently, wrapping the weakened animal in a soft, worn blanket from his kit, navigating through the rugged terrain with deliberate caution. Every step was a calculated risk, balancing urgency with the need to minimize further stress on Bobby's fragile condition. Once Bobby was securely positioned in a small, sheltered depression beneath a rocky overhang, Jake quickly contacted the local wildlife rescue team. His hands moved with practiced ease as he relayed the situation over the radio. An injured bobcat with signs of venom poisoning, likely inflicted by a Mojave rattlesnake. The reassuring crackle of the radio confirmed that help was on its way. In that moment, Jake's focus remained solely on stabilizing Bobby, determined to preserve the precious life before him. Jake's urgent call had not gone unanswered. Within minutes, a dedicated team of wildlife rescuers surged onto the scene. Their vehicles, emblazoned with the logo of the local rescue organization, painted in bold colors, rattled over the rocky desert terrain. Among the team were compassionate souls like Maria, whose empathetic eyes spoke of a deep love for every creature in distress, and Tom, a seasoned field veterinarian, known for his calm under pressure. The atmosphere buzzed with urgency. Each member understood that every second counted for Bobby's survival as they quickly coordinated to secure the injured bobcat. Once on site, The rescuers carefully transferred Bobby into a specialized transport cradle designed to minimize movement and reduce stress. Working in seamless coordination, one team member secured the Bobcat onto a padded stretcher, while another fastened it within a rugged ambulance. The convoy then set off, navigating the uneven, rocky pathways with intense focus. Every bump, every jolt on the journey underscored the race against time. Each moment lost could mean the difference between life and death for the injured Bobcat. The convoy soon arrived at the local wildlife hospital, a modest yet state-of-the-art facility, renowned for its success in treating injured wild animals, nestled at the edge of Saguaro National Park. The hospital's walls were adorned with photographs and thank-you notes from grateful caretakers, a testament to countless lives saved. As the ambulance pulled up, Dr. Emily Carter, a compassionate veterinarian with a reputation for handling exotic and wild species, rushed to greet the team. In the warm, organized environment of the hospital, the chaos of the desert faded away, replaced by a sense of hope and renewal. Guided by the detailed information provided by Jake, Dr. Carter swiftly determined that Bobby's critical condition was due to venom poisoning from a Mojave rattlesnake bite. Without delay, Bobby was rushed into the treatment area where he received a specialized anti-venom serum, a life-saving antidote designed to neutralize the deadly toxin. Along with the anti-venom, supportive therapies were initiated to stabilize his condition and mitigate further damage. The medical team, with their practiced efficiency, monitored Bobby's vital signs closely as the anti-venom took effect. Each steady reading on the monitor and every small sign of recovery bolstered the hope that this remarkable creature would pull through. Throughout the entire ordeal, Jake remained by Bobby's side, his eyes filled with concern, yet shining with unwavering determination. Every update from Dr. Carter and every reassuring gesture from the rescue team reinforced his resolve to protect the wildlife he so dearly loved. As he watched the skilled hands of the medical team work diligently to stabilize Bobby's condition, Jake's heart pounded with both worry and hope. In that moment, the harsh desert and its unyielding challenges were momentarily replaced by a profound sense of solidarity and care. For Jake, each life saved was a triumph against nature's relentless forces, a promise that, despite the odds, compassion and dedication could bring forth new beginnings. In the days that followed the emergency treatment, Bobby slowly began to show signs of recovery. Under the careful watch of Dr. Carter and the rescue team, the Bobcat managed to stand and take tentative steps around his recovery pen. His eyes, once dim with pain, now flickered with a spark of life and curiosity, although still fragile. Bobby's movements hinted at his resilient spirit and a subtle attachment to the place where he had been cared for. Amid the gentle hum of the wildlife hospital, every small improvement was celebrated as a victory over the harshness of the desert. As Bobby's condition steadily improved, the rescue team convened to plan his return to the wild. The veterinary staff, alongside compassionate rescuers, prepared a safe transport crate and mapped out a shaded area at the edge of the park that offered natural shelter. Jake, who had stood by Bobby through every critical moment, now observed the preparations with a mix of hope and bittersweet anticipation. He knew that while the bond forged during the rescue was deep, nature was the only true home for a wild creature like Bobby. The day of release arrived under a clear, brilliant sky. The rescue team, led by Dr. Carter, gently carried Bobby to the designated release site, a serene clearing on the edge of the park, bordered by ancient saguaros and whispering winds. As Jake approached, he felt a lump form in his throat. With careful hands, he removed the makeshift restraints and stepped back, allowing the bobcat the space to choose his own path. For a moment, Bobby paused, his eyes meeting Jake's. In a silent exchange of gratitude and farewell, the air was thick with emotion. As the wild creature took its first confident steps toward the open, natural world that had always been its home. Standing at the periphery of the release site, Jake watched as Bobby disappeared gradually into the wild, each step a symbol of regained freedom, though his heart ached with the pain of goodbye. He felt a deep, abiding satisfaction for Jake. Every rescue was a poignant reminder of both the fragility and the resilience of life in the wild. His mind wandered through memories of past rescues and the countless animals he had helped return to their rightful place in nature. This farewell was not a loss, but a fulfillment of his mission, a tribute to the enduring spirit of all creatures that call the wilderness home. As the dust of the release settled, Jake felt an unyielding resolve settle within him. The noble mission of rescuing and restoring wildlife was far from over. Every life saved was a beacon of hope, a promise that the delicate balance of nature could prevail over adversity. With his heart heavy, yet uplifted, Jake turned away from the clearing. His eyes reflected the endless horizon of the desert, a reminder that his work was a continuous journey. For him, every rescue was not just an act of compassion, but a sacred duty to preserve the wild beauty of the world for future generations.